Welcome to The Right Atmosphere, podcast for writers, brought to you by Atmosphere Press, the only publisher that puts rewarding and meaningful author experiences above all else. I'm your host, Hayla Alawi. On this episode, we're going to be talking about using children's literature to start important conversations with kids with our guest, Michelle de la Mora. Michelle is an international author who bridges her best-selling cookbooks with her debut children's book, Where's Honey? A tender story that helps children understand separation anxiety and love through the magic of imagination. With Michelle's background in brain health and therapeutic practices, she creates stories and resources that open up hard conversations and give families practical tools to stay connected through change. Thank you so much for joining me, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I think I'm especially, I'm excited about this episode because I think there's this kind of misconception publishing, but really in the world at large, that kids are simple and they require simple stories. But obviously, as you know, kids have big emotions the same way adults do. And you could say it's perhaps even more important to help kids process those emotions in a safe environment, of course, with trusted adults. And literature can be the vehicle for that processing. So, as a children's book author, how do you approach storytelling in a way that facilitates having these conversations, in this case, about anxiety, separation anxiety
Mhm.
with kids?
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for having me on the show today. This is my first children's book. I prior am a cookbook author, but I used to see my grandkid or my grandson once or twice a week, and I moved across country. And when I would talk to him on the phone, he would be sad. And he would call me honey, and he'd say, "Where's honey?" And it would just break my heart. And it was hard for me. So I went ahead and wrote this book in a child's perspective. And it's not just a book, so it's for the whole family, and it can open the door for conversation to help the child feel like it's okay to feel sad. And having the companion materials online to also help bridge that gap between a parent not maybe not knowing how to communicate with their children, because if a parent is silent when they're feeling sad or anxiety, they don't know how to talk to a child about it. So I made these companion materials to help guide parents with that conversation. I have a star breathing chart that maybe you can start to use before you start reading the book. And you print it out, you put your finger on one part of the star, and you breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold all the way around the star. It's very calming. And maybe a parent can start to read the book and maybe just read a page or two and gauge their children, how they're feeling, if they're connecting with Arthur, missing his grandma. Then you can say, can you relate to how Arthur's feeling? Do you feel like Arthur sometimes? And not fixing it for them, but being present with them, and kind of helping guide them to understanding how they're feeling.
Yeah, I love that you started off by mentioning, obviously you were also feeling sad. It's not just about the child's emotions. So I think that's a really important kind of thing to recognize as a parent or an adult when you're going into this experience of reading the children's book with the child. So I'm also, I love that you have kind of this idea of asking these questions to a child, not trying to fix it, just trying to sit with them about it. As you were writing the book, did you find that you were kind of thinking of questions that naturally came up to you and then writing the story in a way that facilitated that, or how did that play out?
So when I started writing the book, I didn't have it in paper form. I had it just a Word doc, and I did have an illustrator that I hired, so I had some images. And when I would go visit Arthur, I would read him a little bit and just kind of reflecting back on a child's perspective and not being able to put things into words to how you're actually feeling. There's a lot of imagination in the book, and he conveys the way he feels. So, for example, when in the book, when Honey finally tells him that she needs to move away, he doesn't know how to process those feelings. So, through his imagination, he is envisioning Honey here in the sky picking moonberries for her cookbook because Arthur would actually help me create recipes for my cookbook because I'm a cookbook author. And so just this is how this the child imagination is helping him understand how he's feeling. So, but that doesn't always convey well with the, excuse me. So I just lost my train of thought. Um, So stories give a safe place for feelings that they can't always name. And so that's why I also came up with other downloadable materials for parents to do with their kids. One is a straw rocket. And so
Oh,
what they
wow.
do, so they can make a straw rocket. The big fat straw works best and they can send a message to someone they love. Let's say they're from a military family or adoption, or maybe someone they love moved away. Not necessarily passed away, but the feelings they have, it is like grief. And processing those emotions sometimes for a child can be hard. So I have these different activities, and they can think of someone they truly love and have a message for them. So they create the rocket and then they take a deep breath and then blow it into the air. And it's very calming and therapeutic. Don't know if that answered your question.
I think so. Actually, I think we're quite aligned because I was just about to ask you, what do you do after you've finished reading the book? And clearly you've got this idea of there are activities and there are ways to feel close with the child you're reading with. Do you recommend that authors who are writing children's books like this prepare some kind of materials for use afterward? Is it just an extra? What do you think about that?
This is just an extra on my end for this book in particular. It was just something that just came to me because I needed that bridge to seal the gap between just reading it and just kind of taking it all in, but also having the companion materials to further guide the children with how they're feeling. So anyone can download these materials. You don't have to buy the book. You can download them on my website, and you could just start from there and see if it's something that resonates with you. I do have affirmation cards that you could print out and you can read them to the child or they can read it themselves. These little tiny cards, when you print it out, it's like this, and you can just cut out the little cards and there's some of them have a picture of Arthur, and this one is I am strong. Um, and sometimes I might have a hard time sleeping, so there's another affirmation card that says I can sleep well knowing that I'm loved. And here he is in bed feeling a
Oh,
little
so
weary.
cute.
Um, and I can ask for help. Just these little helpful cards. And and also, maybe they don't have the words to express how they feel. So, if let's say they're younger, maybe 3 years old, or they just don't know the words, right? So, a parent can print out Arthur's feeling faces and they can
Yeah.
post it, they can color it, and they could just point out how they're feeling, if they're feeling angry or scared, and then just letting the child talk about it and being there for them.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this kind of multimedia approach to reading. Reading can be challenging, it can be exciting, but I think this kind of having these materials and having this added layer to starting the actual conversations, I can see why this would be hugely beneficial, not just for the kids, but for the adults who are in this situation, especially if it's something outside of your comfort zone as a parent or an aunt or uncle, grandparent, whatever it might be. Before we say goodbye to our guest, I'm happy to say that this podcast is brought to you by Manuscript Makers, a new subscription service from Atmosphere Press. Manuscript Makers exists to empower writers to do the one thing that matters most: finish the book. We're here to help you hit the page, stay on track, and make real progress chapter after chapter. At $99 a month, members gain access to a supportive, purpose-driven environment that provides just enough structure to stay focused without overwhelming their creative flow. Members receive monthly group classes, live group discussions, curated writing prompts and exercises, and exclusive access to an online writing community. We believe in small steps, shared accountability, and showing up, even when it's hard. Whether you're stuck in the middle or so close to the end, we're here to help you finish. Visit atmospherepress.com to learn more about Manuscript Makers and sign up now so we can help you get those pages done. But Michelle, where should our listeners go to learn more about you and this book and everything that you do?
So you can go to greenislewellness.com, and there everyone can download the materials for free. You can find links to where to purchase the book. It's actually at Barnes and Nobles and Amazon. There is an ebook, so a little bit cheaper. And also, I do have some events upcoming. If you scroll down to the bottom of the website, I do have a book signing, and we're going to do activities with the children at the signing this Saturday at the Carolyn Stewart Library here in town, Jasper, Tennessee. And I literally, September 2nd, today, my cookbook just launched, and this is the one that Arthur helped me create some recipes for. We have the Tiki Love Potion in here, and we made some cauliflower chicken wings. Well, he called them chicken wings. So dedicate this book to my grandson, and that's it. So I hope you enjoy the downloads, and I hope I see you at some of the events.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Michelle. And thanks to all the listeners for tuning in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Right Atmosphere, the Advice for Writers podcast. If you liked what you heard, please leave a review and share this podcast with the writers in your life. And if you're ready to take the next step in your publication journey, visit atmospherepress.com to submit your manuscript for publication consideration or to learn more about writing and what it is that we do. I'm Hala. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.